Okay. Oh, let me just announce to Discord. Okay. I think I'll put the difficulty settings back to how they were, seeing as the aim is to optimize so we can have more, well, so we can have more things pathing, really, just so we can have more creatures. I guess I'll put the number of animals back to what it was too. Okay, I'm gonna make a backup. What did I do last time? I have no idea. I forgot to make a backup. I forgot to push to the repository last time. Okay, well this is the Pathfinding update. Backup. Alright, now I can freely fuck up the entire project and just roll it back if I need to. A logical place to begin would be making the grids, but maybe I should strip out the existing pathfinding stuff first. Because if I remove the old grid, it's going to give me a lot of errors. Is any of this worth salvaging? How much of this do we think we want to use? Ideally, none of it, I guess. I don't know. I'm not actually sure. I mean, it seems kind of redundant. We probably want to convert completely over, rather than using an MP grid for anything. I was just thinking, like, the MP grid is already set up to, you know, flag all of the ocean tiles as forbidden and stuff like that. And you know, we already have stuff that does that, and then we could use that information. We could use the existing MP grid to create the nodes for the new pathfinding grids. But probably we just want to convert completely to the new system. But all I'm going to do for now is comment stuff out, so it will all be there. Yeah. Everything, if I'm not mistaken, everything runs on the pathing script now. Does target relocation run on the pathing script? Oops. No. No, it does not. Okay, that's okay. So what I need to do is global find and replace. Let's just navigate to one of these. I think it might actually, is it in here? It is in here, okay. Oh man, this is gonna break everything. It's okay. It has to be done. Okay. And then I guess it would just be reposition. I don't think we'll be doing any pathing anymore. Whether it will still give me errors for some reason. It may still give me errors. Can we even generate maps without the MP grid? I think so. Oh. Nope. Object controller create line 169. Nice. What's it saying? I'm doing something with the grid that I didn't create. Oh, I'm setting it to a local variable. I'm probably doing that in a billion different places, right? Oh, geez. Am I doing that? I think so. Yeah, I'm offloading the global to a local because it's faster to look up local variables. So every time I do this, we just need to not do this anymore. So now we should not be doing that anywhere. Let's see if there's any more errors. There probably will be. Oh, okay, we've started loading. Promising. It seems like we're stuck. Oh, no, it's just slow. Just slow, isn't it? Will we be able to get in game? No, we got halfway. So let's see, forbid cells. Okay, forbid cells makes sense. Makes sense, right? And this is in the loader, so we can just remove the stuff from the loader. Line 32. Yeah, because this grid no longer exists. Oh, okay, so that is the thing that... Oh my god, and the fishing spots are all spawned based on the MP grid. We can't spawn fishing spots anymore. That in and of itself is a problem. Because the game basically won't function if fishing spots don't exist. It's like one of those things where I basically assumed there would always be fishing spots in the map, so we don't need things to work when they don't exist. So there might be, I might need to do a little bit of updating just to get the game to run without fishing spots. Otherwise we have to go through the entire process and get to the point where we can add fishing spots back to the game just to be able to test things. Or we can do something silly like put a single fishing spot in the corner of the map or something like that, just so there is one. Streams, does that rely on the grid? Of course, so we can't spawn streams. Everything relies... We can't spawn anything, dude. Everything relies on the grid. Oh no. Oh god. Right. Yeah. Yep. The whole spawn system... No, not the whole spawn system, but the spawn system needs to be updated. Lots of things need to be updated. We can't spawn streams anymore. We can't spawn any of the humans or anything, trees, anything. We can't spawn anything because spawn plants, good example, because we are we are checking the grid once again. So I would need to strip that out. It's going to be very unusual because by doing that, we're going to be like spawning stuff in the ocean. It's going to get really crazy, basically. So I think I just need to go through the entire spawn system and disable any checks based on the grid that no longer exists. We're just straight up not running this script at all. Oh geez, right. So yeah, I'll be able to do this, but then we still won't, like, the game still isn't going to work because there will be no fishing spots, and that will immediately just cause an error. I've got to update stuff so the game still runs without fishing spots. I mean, there's lots of this stuff. Okay, hold up. I probably need to do a global find and replace, but I can't really do that. This is involved in all of our waypoint spawning as well. Oh man. No, I mean, other than like other than deleting this completely and starting from scratch, this is what I have to do. Yeah, so even just getting to the blank canvas where I can start building the new pathfinding system is going to take some time. Whoops, I'm missing some. Gotta pay attention. What is this? I don't, right, spawning constructs is tense and stuff. Spawning this stuff is handled differently, where we compile an array of available cells that we can spawn in rather than looking at the whole grid and checking the availability of cells. Oh my god, MP grid add instance. Jesus Christ. Yeah, of course. Whenever I actually spawn something, well, not for everything, but for a lot of things, I also add it to the grid. So we can't do that because there is no grid. Do not try to bend the grid. Instead, only try to realize the truth. There is no grid. Whoops. Okay, let's just go through and check I didn't miss anything. All right. Oh man. uh oh my god. Ooh, okay. Yeah. Would really have made sense to do this in the first place, to do this from the very beginning. But I mean, I didn't even know if I was ever gonna, get this far. I wasn't even. I didn't even know whether I was capable of this. So that was one reason. It's like, well, I mean, I don't even know if I'm actually going to be able to do any of this. And the other reason is I just never imagined. I never imagined that it would be necessary to do this. I never really imagined that it would get to the point where this is causing performance issues. Um, so I mean, I didn't know that I could ever actually get to this point. Nor did I think it would actually cause performance issues if I did. I didn't realize, thought I was making a relatively simple game. I mean, it is relatively simple, but apparently not simple enough. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, we'll basically just be spawning stuff in the ocean. We'll be spawning stuff all over the place. Because previously we used forbidden cells to determine where we shouldn't be spawning stuff. And now there aren't going to be any forbidden cells anymore. Seems we use the same method here. I thought wolf dens were added to the grid. Are they not? Or is it, perhaps it's done in the object? Which would be strange. No. Am I just missing it? Huh. We just don't add them to the grid. Okay. Um, I mean, I guess a lot of stuff is still actually going to spawn in the right place based on the tile map. Um, but stuff is going to be able to spawn on top of each other. I guess that would be the key difference. It will still spawn on the correct in the correct tiles, So yeah, I don't think anything's actually going to spawn in the ocean. Oh, right. No, I see now. I'm spawning the animals in this script, not the wolf dens. Okay, right. Makes more sense. Obviously, we don't add those to the navigation grid. Oh, okay. I'm onto this one. Oh, why is this one on global grid and not grid? Strange. Should be it then. Streams. We're just not gonna spawn streams for now, is that right? MP grid add instance. Oh. Is that it? Oh no, there's something here. Right. The streams, no, I think that's, how do we know when to stop spawning stream tiles? Like, that done based on the tile map? Or I didn't switch these out for macros, so I don't actually know what these numbers mean. Oh, I know 1 is grass. 29 perhaps is forest or something. But we just keep spawning them until we reach the ocean. I think so. I should be able to remove this, any references to the grid from here. And then we can reinstate this script and still have streams. And the fishing spots, similar thing actually. We can probably do, okay, well that's nice because the game won't actually run without fishing spots right now. Grid. What? Huh. I just pass it in like that. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. It's just different from how I did it in the other ones. So we can put those back into the loading sequence now, I believe. Forbid cells, obviously not. But fishing spots and streams, I think we can do. Okay, there's probably more stuff. Oh god, yeah, there's waypoint spawning. Let's just see if we can get through the loading screen at least. And then it will immediately crash, but... yeah, because we're obviously checking the grid whenever spawning waypoints, and we do that in about 1,000 different places. Spots, grid, oh, there's still something in the fishing spots thing. What? What is it? Unknown object dot oh, just simply me trying to pass that in is the issue right now. But we're no longer using it, so I guess I can just leave it blank. Or maybe it needs an argument. If I just delete that, will it be mad at me? Or maybe I can just leave it as nothing. Okay, now we got up to clear cells. Is that something to do with... right. Well, we're never adding them in the first place, so we can just not run the clear cells script. Right, because when you add the tents to the grid, it's not very precise for some reason. So I had to like manually clear the cells that shouldn't be forbidden. Where is that? Oh, I run it. Oh, it's not in the object. It's in the spawn script. I see. There we go. Okay, and then okay, we're in game, but as soon as something tries to spawn a waypoint, it's looking for a grid that no longer exists. So most of this stuff will be in state conditions. Go back to the previous one. Has this been wrong the whole time? I guess so. Oh no, I guess that's supposed to be there. But now it's redundant. Oh shit. Yeah, I'm aware that my hair is fucked up, dude. I went to this barber's and I guess I should have realized something was off as soon as I got there. It was a weird vibe. I don't know, man. I think maybe because I didn't like football. They fucked up my hair. Probably this is a way to get rid of me. It's pretty typical here. Especially where I live right now. It's like the English version of a ghetto or whatever. It's like mostly retarded people. I can just remove this completely then. We're just going to take whatever waypoint spawn we get, which could be in the ocean, but it's fine because now we can walk on the ocean. I don't know, it's weird. It's like if you're not like everyone else, you know, you can't go anywhere. Everyone will attack you. You have to be into the same stuff as everyone else and dress like everyone else and talk like everyone else. Or they will attack you. It's pretty depressing. You know, it's weird. It makes you feel more alone than being alone. You just sort of realize how completely alone you are. Thank God for the internet. I've actually been able to connect with some cool people. But they're pretty hard to find around here. You know, Terence McKenna said, don't be afraid to go it alone. That's quite important, right? Because people change themselves in order to fit in because they're afraid of being alone. Don't be afraid to go it alone. You know, find better people, and if you can't find better people, just go it alone. Like what you're pretending to be somebody who you're not to fit in with a bunch of assholes? Like, why would you want to fit in with them anyway? It's kind of retarded, right? But it's especially bad here, you know? Like, it's like a deprived area with a lot of like mental health problems and drug addiction and stuff. Like a very toxic culture or whatever. I still wonder why some people have the self awareness to not become like that and others don't. That is the age old question. What is that? There must be some sort of neurological difference. I think they're performing eugenics. I think they think they're like making the master race or something. Right? Anything different, anything different must be destroyed. It's kind of crazy, like 2025 and people still live like that, and then they're everywhere. You can go outside, they're all over the place. Still living out these weird, like, archetypes or caricatures or something, like, almost like they're not even real. Oh yeah, there's one. Thought there would be one here. Yeah, the drowning thing is like, it would, oh my god. It would be a lot more efficient to perform this check once when you like drop them, rather than they're constantly checking if they're in the ocean. Like constantly, not constantly. And once per tick whenever they're in the idle state, but still, it's a lot more than just checking it once when you drop them, because that's the only way they can get in the ocean in the first place right now. I don't know. I remember thinking at the time, I want it to be like built in so that they have the ability to recognize themselves when they're drowning. I don't know why anymore. Seemed like a good idea at the time. It's obviously not. But yeah, this is like, anyways, this is like part of British culture. It's well, it's like a subculture, right? It's probably it's like the British version of like the ghetto culture or something in America. But the alternative is really hard, I will admit. But it's better than not trying. Definitely. I think I'll probably die before I can build a healthy life or whatever. Like a good environment to raise kids and stuff. But it's better than not trying. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I'm guessing that like what were currently like forbidden cells, those nodes just won't exist, which is also more efficient because it's not like we have to check all of the cells to see if they're forbidden or not. The nodes that would be in forbidden cells just simply don't exist. So that's nice. There's a few things I've thought of that make this. I mean, there's so many things. It's so much more efficient on so many levels. It's really going to be an amazing performance increase. I'm not sure how much of a performance increase, but probably a big one. Oh, no, there's one more. Thought I was done. Okay, so that's all of those. I'm sure there's more. Okay, let's see. Well, there's the ones in the actual creatures themselves. There will be some there. Yeah. Whoa. Do that one first. What is this? Oh, really? Well, how do we determine which position to use now if that was the only thing we were looking at? Oh, I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't even matter anymore, does it? Although the thing is, we don't actually set this at all. I kind of need to just like do this or something. Like that. Ooh, boy. Yeah. It's pretty massive. It's a massive refactoring. There's this, there's the search algorithms, and, well, I might want to refactor how the creature code works. That's less of a performance optimization and more of like like it's just like easier to work that way. It would make my life easier when adding new creatures to the game and stuff like that. I mean, you could go as far as doing the same for the constructs as well, but it has a huge knock-on effect on like everything else basically, because right now we're used to the different animals being different objects. We're used to the different constructs being different objects, and that's how everything works based on objects. Whereas if there was just one universal creature object that was everything, and one universal construct object, then how we handle those completely changes as well. So yeah, it's such a massive refactoring that it almost feels like you might as well start over again. Just delete the project and build it from the ground up. It's not quite that bad though. It's almost that bad, but it's not quite that bad. Yeah, the interesting thing is that the damage is often permanent, though. It's quite rare that people are able to recover from growing up in like an abusive or impoverished environment, or whatever you would say. Because often the brain changes are permanent and irreversible, which is unfortunate. Like, it's not just a matter of like maybe if they get therapy or if they get the help they need or something. It's like, no, there is actually no cure. It's like the brain is permanently altered and cannot be fixed. Which is something I only learned recently. It really helps once you understand that. Because, you know that saying, like, if you measure a fish by its ability to climb trees, you'll think it's an idiot, right? Because it doesn't know how to climb, it can only swim. But it goes the other way as well. You measure a monkey by its ability to swim in the ocean, you'll think it's an idiot. So it does go the other way as well. Like, so if you have like a sociopath or something, and you're saying like, oh, you know, what, you know, they're failing on some sort of a moral level, you know, that's not actually right at all. It's just their nature. Their brain is literally different. Like, they're actually kind of working as intended. That's just how their brain is. It's not like something they can help, you know, they can't do better or whatever. That's just how their brain is. But yeah, if you don't know that and you're looking at it, you have a completely different brain. You have like a functional brain that allows you to experience empathy and stuff. Then you can be quite judgmental of them. Of course, you can't like be around them or have them in your life or anything. Often they just need to be like locked away for the protection of everyone else, for the benefit of everyone else, unfortunately. But at least you can kind of understand it. But it's like when somebody but yeah, but that's what I always wonder, is like, what is the difference there neurologically? Because two people can experience trauma and one of them becomes a sociopath and the other one doesn't, right? What is the determining factor there? That's what I wonder. There must be some neurological differences. Oh, I gotta get something to drink. I'll be right back. But then you get those people who like make it out of the ghetto or whatever, but they don't actually get better. They then they become those people who are just like flaunting their wealth and are obsessed with power and control and stuff because they're still stuck in the trauma response. Uh, yeah, some people can recover from that. Quite probably the majority of people actually. Um, it is possible. You have to obviously have to be like willing to do the work necessary, but others cannot. Others like the brain changes are literally irreversible. I've done the humans now. My God, that was the worst one. So. But I think it really helps. It has really helped me to understand that, like, they they don't have a choice. There isn't a choice to be that way. There is no free will. They just have like a different brain structure, basically. Their brain works differently. It's like what's kind of a good example? Like, if you, I don't know, take the wing mirrors off a car or like cover up half of the windscreen or something, the person driving that car is going to have very different results from driving a car when you can actually see everything, where you're aware of everything. That's it. If you like switch off the part of the brain responsible for empathy, that person is now operating with like a large part of information missing. Like they're completely unaware of a large portion of reality, basically, and they're going around like that. It's simplest example, like, yeah, put a blindfold on somebody, they're going to be like walking into walls and shit because because they can't see. It's like that. It's like, imagine just taking away the part of your brain that allows you to like love, essentially. These ones not have the limiters. I might have just given up on the limiters at some point. I don't even know what happens if it reaches the limit. Hopefully it just never reaches the limit. But what happens if it does? I don't know. Oh, this one has limiters. Yeah, but it's really tragic, you know. It's very strange how, like, how families will, like, protect abusers and stuff. I think they call it enmeshment or something like that. It's like they don't actually exist as individuals, they exist as an extension of the abuser, basically. It's very weird. I think it's just the obelisk, right? The obelisk is responsible for spawning the group waypoints used by the hunting parties. I'm pretty sure. We'll soon find out if I'm missing anything. Yeah, I'm not actually spawning any of the wolves or the bears in this map, am I? Would be a more complete test if I did spawn those. So yeah, nobody's going to be able to move. Nobody can do any pathing. Oh wow. Hey, it's not giving me any errors. And I mean, the map looks largely the same. I mean, it kind of looks the same. Okay, but if I enable, oh, I can't enable the grid. That would crash. I think I was going to try to enable the grid that doesn't exist. I can't do that anymore. So where there would have been a cell on the MP grid previously, there's now going to be a node in our new navigation system. Okay, now it crashed after a while. The deer herd. Yeah, that's the one that I forgot about. The deer herd object. Of course. Yeah, because it spawns waypoints used in migration. Yeah, it's kind of funny though how, like, when you call them out on how, like, abusive and dysfunctional they are, their response is to attack you and to try and destroy you, which kind of just proves the point, really, doesn't it? But that's the thing, it's like, it's not like they can have this moment of self-reflection and be like, oh, you know what, yeah, I did those things, and that kind of sucks. Like, they're not physically capable of that. Like, their brains just don't work that way. So yeah, they just sort of double down, right? Because that's all they're capable of. It's weird. Weird, yeah. Okay. Let's run one with all of the creatures to be sure. Alright, here is my game, sans pathfinding. Nothing can move anymore. My voice is a little bit rough. But it runs, that is good. It is performing a little bit better than it was too, because we're not doing any of the pathing, and that was like the slowest thing. It's amazingly, it's still not very smooth. It's still pretty slow, because that's because of all of the search algorithms, essentially. Oh, that's a cool little fork in the stream at the end there. I think that is a single stream still, though. It just can just take those weird winding paths sometimes. Kind of like doubles back on itself a bit. Yeah. Maybe not very realistic, but hey. Okay. So we've done the groundwork. We've got a blank slate to work with now. I've basically stripped out all the old pathfinding. Nice that it can still run without that stuff. And yeah, we can see like everything, you know, obviously everything else is still there, still working. And now we need to start building a new pathfinding system. Oh boy. Let's just control F3, I think it is, show grid. Oh, that just toggles the thing though. The actual drawing of the grid is done somewhere else. Show grid here. So that MP draw grid, that grid no longer exists, so we can't do that. But we'll use this to draw our new like nodes or something eventually. I visualize them as just like little white dots, basically. So that's what I'll make them look like. It would be useful for me to know the size of the grid that we need to make, and then because then we can chop it up, because it actually needs to be multiple grids within a grid. That's the whole point. Right. So we're also gonna have to build a system that like populates this thing. It might be nice to visualize I kind of want to call them tiles, but I know tiles is what tiles are called, so it might be a bit confusing. But we have the major grid, which will be these quite large tiles, maybe like 10 by 10. I don't know, we'll figure it out. And then inside of each one of those will be a grid of nodes. And then when we do pathfinding, they will actually find the shortest route on the major grid, on the large grid, and then they will pass those cells into the next stage of pathfinding, and it will find a path through all of those cells. So instead of finding a path through the entire grid, we've drastically limited the number of cells that it has to path through, right? So that is one way, probably the primary way that the primary thing that makes this method of pathfinding much faster than what we were doing previously. Plus, we're going to use Dijkstra's algorithm, which might just be faster in and of itself because it has these like weighted connections, basically. I don't really understand how the weighted connections work, though, actually, now that I think about it. Because they'll all be exactly the same weight in our case, because every node is the same distance from every other node. I mean, I guess the diagonal nodes are slightly further than... I mean, technically they are slightly further in pixels, but it's still just one grid cell over, really, isn't it? It's like one cell to the right and one cell down. I don't know. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I don't know. Well, we can still set up the grid system, even if I don't actually know how we're going to weight the connections, how that works. I mean, I understand it theoretically. I don't understand how it applies to our situation, because it's a grid. It's a grid. Everything's the same across the whole grid, so all of the adjacent nodes are going to be weighted like exactly the same. But I guess I don't know. I suppose. Oh, wait a minute. No, I really don't know. Okay. Yeah, no, but it might be nice to have a way to draw the major grid. We can just use draw lines and our coordinates. Right. So instead of an MP grid function, I can make my own SC grid function, I suppose, which makes the grid. Maybe I want to do it as two functions. One that creates the major grid and one that creates the nodes within the cells of the major grid. I have a SC grid and an SC node script. Yeah, I still call them scripts a lot. I mean, I know that I'm just making functions, aren't I? Oh yeah, the first thing I need to know is the size of the frickin' thing. Rooms. Take a look at one of the maps. The maps are 16,384 by 16,384. $16,384 divided by 32 is 512, so it's 512 horizontally, which means it's 1024 vertically. What's the best way to divide that up then? Like, divide it up into 16, maybe? And then you would have 32. That's quite a lot still. 32. That's like just over the width of the default sphere of influence size, which is 30. That's quite big. Probably want to go down more than that. 512 divided by 32. 16, we could do like 16 nodes per cell on the x-axis and 32 nodes per cell on the y-axis. Or, well, it depends. That would make them square by doubling the number on the y-axis. But maybe we want them to be rectangular. And just do them 16 by 16. 16 seems like a better size to me. So we would have 32. We would have 32 cells horizontally, 64 cells vertically. A 32 by 64 grid of these rectangular cells, each of which would contain 256 nodes. Is that right? And that's right. 16 by 16. Seems like a pretty good number of nodes. As long as we set it up right, this can all be easily tweaked, so it doesn't matter that much. But I guess I'm honing in on a or like a starting point. Ugh. Interesting. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what this is. Trying to wrap my head around what this is. It's an array of arrays. We know that much. Because we don't want the nodes to actually be objects, of course. We would loop through the array and like draw a sprite at the coordinates or something if we wanted to visualize it. So what is this comma? The only time I've seen this is like, yeah, when like in my save load system. Save load system has something like that. Does it not take a comma at the end as well? So it's like adding, so save entity must be an array, okay. And if I do push, then I don't need to define the size of the array at the beginning. This is a different way of doing it. Return val ij equals ic. Oh, that's weird. You can write it like that as well. And maybe you don't need the comma in that case. I'm not sure. Not quite sure how this would be referenced later. This x, y. I guess when we look at that position in the array, actually, I don't know. There will just be an x and a y at that position in the array that contains these values, right? Interesting. But yeah, I don't want to have to put these numbers in every time, so I think doing the array push method is actually kind of good, right? Gotta figure out when I do it, I've got to imagine the loop. So there's the first for loop is going horizontally. Let's assume. I guess so. we want to loop a number of times based on the room size, really, so that that's flexible as well. Automatically adapts if we change the size of the room. So let's make an empty array. So this is going like x0, and then the internal for loop goes through all of the y, and then it moves over to x1 and does the same thing. But obviously every cell needs to be pushed into the thing, so we'll do an array push inside of the inner for loop instead of doing it this way. No, I still need an array though. Oh, it's like if I do it this way, I need an extra array. Is that right? Save, what the fuck? Save entity equals, is this an array? Is this a way of like creating an array? I guess. We're going directly. And we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that, do we? We can make it adapt to any room size just by changing the amount of time that it loops to be based on room size, right? So I want to pass in like, oops. So I used to do like room width divided by cell width, room height divided by cell height, and then just pass those in. Or we could just have it built in, so I don't have to do anything manually. What? And then we loop a number of times based on the width, and a number of times based on the height. What about this one though? What's this? This is creating the arrays within arrays. I equals 0. Return val equals array create. So what is this? This is doing the internal thing. This is like the one for the nodes. I think this is like filling out the array for each cell on the major grid. I'm pretty sure is what that's doing. So how does this work then? It's just an array full of arrays. Okay, 16384 divided by 32 is 512, and then we decided to divide that by, what was it, 32 again. So here I would do, weird, I don't really get it. Why are these both using I? That can't be good, right? Well, it resets I to 0 at this point, so maybe it's fine because it's not nested. Yeah, we completely finished with this and then move on to this. Okay. I less than RW. I don't have to do it every time, so it's like, oh my god. RW divided by 16 multiplied by height divided by 16 as well. Alright. Would that be 32? So it's 1024 nodes vertically. Divide that Gotta divide that by 64. 1024 nodes divided by 64. So there's 64. What is it? 64 cells vertically, 32 cells horizontally. I guess it makes sense. Wait. 512 divided by 32. 16. Oh, right. Divide this by 32 and divide this by 64. Right, so we have 512 and 1024, and we split that up into 16, and we split this up into 32. No. 1024 divided by 32. What the fuck? 1024 divided by 32. I can't type. 1024 divided by 32 is 32. Right. So we have, and then this would give us the total number of cells in the grid, right? Just 16 cells this way, 32 cells this way. If I multiply 16 by 32, 16 times 32, 512. There's 512 cells in the grid. Each cell is 16 by 16 nodes, 256 nodes per cell. Okay, I think that's correct. And then if I just do total cells here, then we will create an array for every single one of the for every single one of the 512 cells. How do I know how big to make this array? It can just be an empty array. And then we could just push. With this function, you can push a value or values onto the end of an array without having to know the length of the array. I suppose the difficulty is that it's a two-dimensional array, perhaps? I don't know how to push onto a two-dimensional array. Well, I could just do two separate pushes. Can I? I don't know. I don't know. Let's maybe just figure out how big the array needs to be. Well, it needs to be 16 times 16, which is 256 for our 256 nodes. We know that a cell, let's see. Yeah, how do we get that actually? How do we get that? So our room width, which is 512 divided by 32. We have 16 cells. That's not helping me. That's not helping. Oh, okay. Total cells. If I take room. Fuck, how do you do this? So if I take the full room width. I mean, this doesn't. Does this really work though? The thing is, no, it doesn't. I think the way that this works, we kind of need to know. I can't really make this like automatically adapt to any room size. Anyway, so it's kind of pointless to do this, I think. I might as well just punch these numbers in manually, really. It falls apart at this point, right? I think. Yeah. Um. This would just be 255, I guess. And arrays presumably start from 0. This one, let's see, it needs to be total cells, right, of course. So yeah, unfortunately I don't think I can make this like automatically adapt to any room size that I set. It's just, you know, kind of just have to manually update it. The idea is that the room size will never change, but I do like it when things just automatically adapt to what I throw at them. Okay. So we create an array. It would have to be total cells minus 1. So we create an array that is the length of the number of cells, and then we loop through that array, creating an array that is the number of nodes inside every cell. And then we loop through, well, we have like, this is the thing that adds them to the, what is this? Return val ij. What the fuck even is this? Return val I equals array create 256. 255. Yeah, I'm getting kind of lost here. And then we loop through the room width and height, adding an I and j to return val. I think I'm just confused because the the array is one-dimensional when we create it, but now is that fine? We're just treating it two-dimensionally now? Or does it need to be two-dimensional from the very beginning? I don't know. I guess I made the array too long, something like that. I don't think this is what I think it is. I don't know what this is. There is also a maximum array length, and I forget what it is. Run into that problem before. But it's not documented very well. Oh, it's 32,000. Okay, we're good. We're good. Oh, we're close. I suppose the reason this doesn't work is because I'm like, I've detached from coordinates. We're no longer kind of coordinate based. But the whole point is we're trying to get coordinates, right? How would I get coordinates from this? Bit shifting, probably. Yeah. Can bit shift to get coordinates still, okay. Bit shifting from like grid coordinates to room coordinates works. But I would need... See, this only works for one cell, I think. But we have to make something that works for all of the cells. Also, I have no idea how we actually look at the adjacent nodes. How does it know what the adjacent nodes are? Based on its own coordinates? Guess it can be done that way, but isn't it going to be quite slow finding those in the array? Well, this is just for making the grid. Oh yeah, this isn't. So it's not happening all the time. It's just happening once at the beginning. Well, it does have to happen again if the navigation grid ever changes. Yeah. Nav grid would be, yeah, that would be a good name for it, wouldn't it? We need to also be able to update the nav grid whenever it changes. Oh, jeez. Alright, I gotta take a leak, and to be honest with you, I need to lift some weights, so that's probably what I have to do next. I'll be right back. Let me just grab another drink. It's like we need an additional for loop or something. Do we? We have this thing. No, okay, we have this. We create an array the length of the number of cells, and then in each entry in that array we create another array the length of the number of nodes. That's all good up until that point, and then this is where it kind of falls apart. It's as if we need a second loop, or maybe integrate it in the first one. But it's like, what are these arrays even called, you know? It's very confusing. I think I've deviated too far from the example that Brewer gave me. I obviously didn't fully understand what his example was doing. I mean, his function is called create talent major grid coordinates. So presumably that's what it's doing. I'm doing something completely different here. This is just to create the coordinates of the major grid. That would be the top left corner of each cell, presumably. So yeah, I've gone off the rails. I'm pretty sure I've gone off the rails. We would still need our total cells, because we gotta make, we need the coordinates for every cell. I don't understand why we create a second array within this. Right, this just kind of spews this out anyway. These are all temporary arrays, so of course what I'm doing doesn't make any sense. And he's passing in talent window. No idea what that's all about. Top left point, just a point. Oh, there's a window, okay. I mean, I know that we're using this for the map, so it's always 0, 0, so I don't need to worry about that. Okay. You would create them once at the start. Create a function that will create the inner nodes based with the XY coordinates passed to it, such as the top left coordinate of the greater box, and then create the inner nodes based off an offset. This is the function I use to create the grid coordinates. You could use this for both the outer grid and the inner grid by passing in the offset as well. Turn value array create 5. Loop through this and return value I equals array create 5. So we have an array full of arrays. So this function just spits out, this isn't the grid function at all, it just spits out an array with coordinates. Okay. Okay. Okay, what I want is a grid that makes the entire, sorry, I want a function that makes the entire grid. May not even be the best way to do it, but that's how it's like how I'm used to doing things. Okay. So I might just have to like come up with my own method. And sort of build it from the ground up. I'm getting real hungry though, so I should probably lift some weights before it's too late. God damn. Okay. Yeah, this is... I think that was more confusing me than anything because it was not what I thought it was. I'm just going to have to build it. myself. Okay, alright, I'll be back in 5 on the phone. Trying to get a quick workout in, and then I can get something to eat and continue doing this. I'll be back in a sec.